Hello, everybody. Welcome back to WineupTV. I am your host, Wayne, here with Melanie and Joe from Idaho. Can you believe that? From Snake River Valley AVA. So when we get back, we're going to talk about their Cinder label. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Guys, thank you very much for coming by. And Glenn, thanks a lot for bringing them by. We like to pimp out wines from all over the world here, and Boise, Idaho.
That's right.
And the cool thing, Melanie was talking earlier, tell us a little bit about, give us that Reader's Digest condensed book version of why Boise? I mean, you know, where you came from, where you're schooling, where you were taught, and so forth.
So I learned how to make wine in Washington State, worked for the big guys, Chateau Ste. Michelle. It was a great education.
Small winery up in Washington.
Yeah, and during the time I was working there, I kept spying on my hometown of Boise, where my parents are, and looking at the climate, seeing how it compared to Eastern Washington, and then going back and tasting through the winemakers' cellars there in Boise, and became convinced that we could make world-class wine there. So when Joe and I decided to start our own label, we moved to the Snake River Valley, and I'm really happy with that decision. Every year I work there. This was my 6th Idaho harvest. Gets better.
6th Idaho harvest. You know, people probably back in the 70s were looking at guys like, you know, Woodward Canyon, so Rick Small and Gary Figgins at Leonetti going, you're crazy trying to plant grapevines in Walla Walla. It's too cold, it's too this, too that. And then the Snake River AVA, when did it come into fruition?
2007.
So it's a pretty new AVA.
Yeah, it was designated in 2007, but people have been growing grapes there 30, 40 years. But of course, being designated an AVA has given everybody a lot more to talk about and be excited about.
And you were talking earlier that is a bigger AVA than Willamette Valley.
It is.
So Willamette Valley is about 3.5 million acres.
It is. Yeah.
So the Snake River must, and what do you think is, what's the total acreage planted in the Snake River AVA, roughly?
Pretty small.
Okay.
Pretty small and pretty.
It's such a huge area, but
It
just
is
a little
huge.
bit of it's planted.
Yeah, I mean, the state produces around 200,000 cases a year,
Okay.
so relatively small.
And then you guys, as your own label, the Cinder label, you guys are about 2,000 cases?
Yeah, 2,500 last year.
2,500 last year, but you started with one barrel, didn't you?
Two.
Two barrels, there we go.
40 cases in 2006. So.
And after all your friends bought it and your family bought it, you go, okay, maybe I can sell it to other people besides close friends and family. All right, so let's talk a little bit about your grapes. You have a Viognier, and then you have a Rosé, and then you do a Cab, you didn't bring it, and then a Syrah.
Yeah, so really like the Rhone varieties there in the Snake River Valley, as well as we're starting to get into Tempranillo production. And I think the Spanish varieties are going to do great. We're talking about similar climates to northern Spain, like Ribera del Duero, maybe northern Rhone climates. Continental, high and dry.
Okay.
Cold winters, but not nearly as cold as people might think.
Nice, big, protected valley, so that helps us be at that higher elevation, but lowers our risk to those winter kills or spring frosts, because those mountain ranges almost completely ring the valley we're in.
And you guys are thinking outside the box. I mean, most people say, oh, I've got to plant Chardonnay, because, or I've got to plant Sauvignon Blanc, or, something like that. So you chose Viognier. And usually when winemakers choose a grape, it's because, A, they love it. You can't grow, at the end of the day, if you can't sell, you got to drink it yourself. So you might as well plant and grow something you love and you have an attachment to. And what I like is the two different styles. You have a dry Viognier, and then you have one that's semi-off-dry a little bit. So let's talk about your first one. Let's talk about this Viognier. And tell us a little bit about the vineyards, where you source your fruit from.
So the dry Viognier is sourced mostly from Williamson Vineyard, which is south of the town of Caldwell, looks right out onto the Snake River, has chalk hills behind it, beautiful vineyard. Fairly deep soils, but not a lot of organic matter, so they still drain really well. But we have the grower crop it at quite a high tonnage, so that we're getting really fresh fruit, lots of acid. This is a really crisp, long finishing wine.
This is very, very nice. She's a little pregnant here. You can't see it, but she's probably not drinking a lot of wine, but you know, just a little bit, right? At this point, just a little bit. Oh, is that me? Is that your agent calling?
It is. Let me get
Agent Orange.
It's the baby. It's the baby's doctor.
Yeah. Hello. You're due now. Okay. All right. So with this Viognier, and we were talking earlier about soils. It's pretty sandy, loam,
Yeah.
well drained.
Lots of sandy loams, lots of volcanic remnants like cinder or small particles. That's where we got the name for our winery. So the off-dry Viognier that we'll taste next is a vineyard Sawtooth. They also have a winery on that vineyard. And it's about a half and half mixture of sandy loam and cinder particles.
Okay, aromatics on this first one are great. Reminds me of a Rhone style Viognier, as it should be. You know, it's made in an opulent way. It's got a little bit of pineapple. It's got a beautiful nose on it, some minerality as well, and I think that's what's really pushing this wine. So retail on these is about $16 a bottle, roughly,
16, 17, yeah.
right around there. If you guys want to think outside the box, wines from Boise, Idaho. Yeah, you know, they're going to be players, I think, in the market. You know, as property kind of moves out and people start experimenting with different vineyard sites and different soils. It's pretty exciting stuff. All right, so that's that one. Let's do this off-dry one now. So, yeah, we'll kind of move these to the side and bring these forward. All right, let's give this a little
Hopefully
whirl.
here we're going to see a really different, I would say more opulent, more lush style. Again, Melanie working with the growers all the way through and then into the vineyard, into the winery, creating this more opulent, I'd say riper style Viognier.
Completely different nose on this one. A little bit more butterscotch almost on this wine. But it's very nice.
Yeah, so these vines, the grapes here were a little bit lower yield. We're talking in the 3 to 4 ton per acre range versus maybe like all the way up to a 5 ton per acre on the Viognier, the dry Viognier. And so a lot more sun exposure, let the grapes get riper, and that starts this off into the more opulent, more tropical style wine.
Now, when you plant your vineyards, you don't have any vineyards, but the vineyards are planted now. You know, we're in the Willamette Valley, so we want south-facing slopes. You want optimal sun exposure. The vineyards that are planted over in Idaho, is there quite a bit of difference? Are they still on a south-facing slope to where you optimize the?
Well, lots of people do plant on the south, although there are two of my Viognier vineyards that aren't south. 2 of them are south, one of them's north, and one of them's west.
Because you have a lot of heat where you live. I mean, it's not like
we don't really
it's not like here.
need to plant on
Yeah.
the south.
Exactly.
Yep.
We can plant on the north and still ripen the grapes because there's tons of heat power there.
So at 5 or 6 tons of fruit per acre on the first one, do they thin? They go through and drop some fruit?
Well, they do, but the end yield is pretty darn high, and I
Wow.
specifically want them to keep it that high so that we're getting that lovely, clean finish, you know, lots of acid on the finish. We're talking about serious heat power there.
Okay.
If you drop the yield too low, you're going to get your grapes ripe way too fast.
And when's a normal harvest over there? Like that foreign
well-
land, Boise, Idaho.
Really similar to Eastern Washington, we're going to start in early September and finish about mid-October.
Have you noticed the last couple of years it's been cooler summer-wise than '09? It's been very cool here. Even Napa got some coldness. Very atypical of desert. And you know, I wouldn't call Boise so much desert, but it's kind of high plains a little bit. You know.
11 inches of rainfall a year.
Yeah, that's about what they get in Hood River, roughly 11 to 16 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So very interesting. All right, since this is such a classy show, we're just going to do this and, you know, try your rosé. Isn't this great? I didn't bring it out in enough glasses. That's sometimes my bad. All right, let's talk about your rosé. First, it's almost pomegranate red, and this has got to be a little Syrah rosé.
Yep, it's 100% Syrah, grown to be rosé and made to be rosé, so there's no back blending of Saunier juice or anything like that.
So being in the wine business like you have been, and you know, working at such a Saint Michel and kind of spying on different properties and get, do you find that you get a lot of rosé? Or do you find that you get a lot of Syrah? Are you a real huge rosé fan, or do you just make rosé because it's you know you get some juice or whatever?
We just make it because it's difficult to sell.
Yeah,
And
well,
it's a real small
yeah.
margin. Yeah.
Yeah, at least he's telling the truth. You know, that's what I appreciate.
We like a challenge, so.
Sure, and I think a rosé is great in your program, but you have to really manage it every year. You know, a couple hundred cases. What's your case production on this rosé?
300 cases.
Okay. Does most of this sell in the local Boise market? I mean, how far out do you guys go?
So right now we're all throughout Idaho. Probably 80% of our sales are inside the state, and then we're looking at some growth here in Portland, which is great, and also in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So when we want to go eat, we hook up a sales call to Portland, and when we want to go ski, we go to Jackson. That's our theory so
See,
far.
he's talked to his accountant. He says, okay, we can travel all over the place and sell wine. Trust me, I've got a good one too. All right, this what I like about this, the nose. You know, it's fruity, yet a tad sweet, but not sweet. It's more dry. What's a RS on this?
0, bone dry.
This is bone dry, but it tastes like it has some sweetness to it.
You know, it
That's
has that.
the Syrah.
It's that body, I think, that tannin, just that hour of skin contact with the Syrah skin. I think it brings out a lot of like flesh to it. Some body that I think maybe can confuse a little bit, maybe.
So on your next label, this is your 2010. On your 11s, you say it's a dry rosé, correct? Even though this is dry, but some people perceive these as being sweet. So I think putting dry on it is good. But you know, everybody got different degrees of dryness because it's what's the acid in the wine, and that I think creates the really dry ones versus the ones that.
Yeah, well, Syrah is typically a low acid grape. So when you, even though I picked this really, really early for my rosé program, it's still going to be relatively lower acid than, say, if we did like a Grenache rosé
Okay.
or one of the other varieties.
All right, let's talk about your last wine, your Syrah. Which you know, what are you most passionate about? Now, you know, you have Viognier. I mean, all your wines are so far great wines. But when you're making wine, what's one you like to make the most? Do you have a favorite? It's like a child. Do you have a favorite?
Syrah program for us is so consistently good. That's, you know, like a real star in our portfolio. The Viognier is kind of like the love relationship that doesn't go so easy. You know, we've definitely done a lot of experimentation to nail down our styles on the Syrah and how we want the vineyards managed on the Viognier.
So you have a pretty good oversight. I mean, you go out there and you talk to your growers, and you're always kind of going through spring, summer, fall. You know, always monitoring sugars towards the end.
Yeah, they're long-term relationships, and I have specific rows contracted in the vineyard, so I go out twice a month during the growing season and walk the vineyards with the growers and chat about, you know, how things are going.
Yeah, and I don't know if we told you, but I think one of the keys is that Melanie actually started in the vineyard in Washington State. So I think that time there in the vineyard was really key in helping her be able to understand how important it is for the winemaker to have their feet in the vineyard talking to the grower.
No, that's a good point. That's where you start building your relationships. You understand the vineyard, you understand the people, and the people who are growing your fruit. You know, because at the end of the day, you know, you can own your own property and manage it, or you could contract with somebody, yet have your hand in it the whole time. Because all they want to do is grow the best grapes that the weather will give them for that year, and all you want to do is have the best fruit, manageable, and the quality high to make the best wine possible. I like this. You know, this is kind of like a typical Syrah. This is very meaty and roasty. It's got some nice oak on it as well. Your oak program for your Syrah, what's it consist of?
Well, 50% of the barrels are old, very old neutral barrels, and then the other 50% is a mixture of brand new second year and third year oak. So all of those, though, are American. So if we have 20 barrels, you know, every year we're bringing in a few new, and then they carry through to the second year and third year.
And what's your case production on the Syrah?
That's about 400 cases.
It's about 8 barrels? No, 16 barrels.
More than
Right.
that, 20, I think.
Yeah, about 16, 20 barrels. And not a lot, but have you seen a nice growth pattern over the last couple of years? Because honestly, the last 2-3 years, it's a tough economy out there. So you got to be smart about your price points, and you have to build a brand and build a label. And I like your labels. I think it's very cool. It's simple, and I'm a huge fan of the etched bottles, by the way, of these silk screen bottles.
Yeah.
a little bit more expensive, but at the end of the day,
Throw it in an ice bucket and the label never peels
then,
off. which is always
exactly,
nice.
exactly. Hard to put in a scrapbook though.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is.
'cause you got that, you got that look going there for you. Well, hey guys, thank you so much for stopping by, and Glenn, thanks a lot for bringing them by. Boise, Idaho, you know, the Snake River AVA. Let's kind of follow out the next 10, 15, 20 years. You know, thank goodness I'm still kind of young. I don't know, 50. I don't know about young anymore, but you know, to be able to grow into another AVA is going to be kind of cool. All right,
Thank you.
guys, thanks a lot for stopping by. And hey guys, I will have these wines on my website, so if you're interested in any Boise wines, check these out. You know, let's start thinking outside the box. Different AVAs, different flavor profiles. Very, very good stuff. When we come back, we're going to talk to somebody else. So you guys have a great day.